Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of the Opposition Preview. And after Wednesday night's disaster class at Old Trafford, Chelsea have got another tough away game as they head to Goodison Park on Sunday to take on Sean Dyche's Everton. Everton actually would be ahead of us if it wasn't for their 10-point deduction. So, yeah, not the best situation for the Blues right now. Only one win in our last 5 visits to Goodison Park as well. Everton heading into this game in good form, back-to-back wins away at Nottingham Forest and at home to Newcastle last night. And to get the Everton view, I'm delighted to be joined by Ian from Across the Park podcast. Mate, welcome to Chelsea Fan TV. Great to have you on. From an Everton perspective, let's start with a 10-point deduction because it's kind of a big talking point. I know it's been a few weeks now since that's happened, but how do the fans, people amongst the club, there's a grave sense of injustice about the punishment handed out. What's everyone thinking about it?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Great to be on Chelsea Fan TV, Charlie. Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it. What I want to say about, because again, we spoke on a different channel, didn't we, on my channel, and sometimes fans from different clubs, they don't know the detail. And I don't expect any Chelsea fan to know the detail of what happens here. What I want to clarify is Evertonians who are protesting and Evertonians who are visibly angry, it's not about the breach. Everton are a guilty party in this. Everton have admitted a breach. So we're not appealing anything about, we haven't done it. We actually have. It's the severity of the penalty. The severity of the punishment is a 10-point punishment. That's one more point than you get for going into administration. Clearing your debts, making people lose jobs. One of the worst things you can do as a football club, go into administration. We cannot run this football club. We done a £19 million breach, which we admitted, and we got more points than going into administration. That's the anger for me. I'll never speak for every Evertonian, but we're collective at the moment. What it has done is it's really brought a togetherness. Our local paper, the Liverpool Echo, they ran the headline, Everton versus the world, because it feels a little bit like that. And I get other fans, especially our rivals, will enjoy this. And I'd probably enjoy it if I was looking at someone else as well. So I get it. And I get the interest. And I get why some people are going, well, Everton are guilty. They should get punished. And I absolutely agree. And Everton went into this investigation admitting guilt. It's the severity to get 10 points. And, we're on your channel. So just as an example, it's very, very different. But and I know you guys didn't support it, you guys were one of the first fans, I think, to protest against this. It was the Super League, the potential Super League. I remember the scenes at Stamford Bridge where I think Petr Cech was outside trying to calm everyone down. So this is not against your supporters. But when the 6 teams tried to do that, the 6 clubs, when they came back and they were given a £3.5 million fine from the Premier League. Now, I've got no issue with that. What I've got an issue with is the Premier League said in that statement it would be unfair to punish the supporters, and I agree with that. But what we've done as Evertonians for the past number of years, or a number of Evertonians have done this, we've not been happy with our boards. We outed these before the Premier League did. We've protested against our board. We have said they are not fit to run our football club. We are really worried about what they're doing. So the 2 things for me, Charlie, is the 10-point is just too harsh. And they've moved the goalpost from you can't punish supporters to punishing supporters.
No, I absolutely hear that. I think that's more than a fair appraisal. I mean, playing sort of devil's advocate slightly, would you? Obviously, I think the points deduction is harsh in terms of the amount of points. But I suppose if you were going to take a points deduction in any season, I guess this would perhaps be the one to do it, given the fact that there are clearly so many. There are a number of worse teams than Everton. You've got Sheffield United, you've got Burnley. Luton have picked up a little bit in recent weeks, but I don't think people expect them to stay down. You're already back out of the bottom 3 now.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're looking at it that way, would you say that, is it kind of, this punishment was coming? Would you say it's slightly, I don't say lucky, maybe fortunate that, it's come in a season where there are 3 teams that are clearly a lot worse than all the others?
Yeah, no, lucky was a valid word. I wouldn't argue with that at all. The fact that if this 10-point punishment stays, I think we'll be okay. It took us 13 days to get out of the relegation zone from being punished. 13 days. And a lot of that is that the teams around us currently won't pick up as many points as we do. I said to my friends 2 weeks ago when this happened, if the league started now, we'll still get more points than Sheffield United, Burnley and Luton, and that will keep Everton up. And that's a big factor in why we will stay up, is because the 3 teams around us are really poor. The flip side of that, Charlie, is a button's going to be pressed. One's been pressed already. Sheffield United have changed their manager. Will buttons be pressed elsewhere? Will investment come in January? Will someone's chairman say it's worth the 40 million to go and get this striker to keep us up? And then the game changes because Everton can't do that. We cannot go and invest. So the answer to your question is yes. At this current moment, we are very fortunate. We're very lucky that the penalty has come with teams who are a lot worse than us. That can change. That can change in January.
No, absolutely. You just never know what's going to happen in football. I mean, in terms of what's been happening on the pitch, obviously, like, I know it might sound a weird thing to say, but do you feel that potentially kind of the 10-point deduction and the sort of the sense of injustice at the severity of the punishment, creating that kind of siege mentality, us against the world sort of thing, do you think that's lit a bit more of a fire in the Everton players, the coaching staff, the fans, etc., and it's actually maybe pushed you on to perform better than you otherwise might have done in normal circumstances?
Yeah, I would have had a different answer if you asked me this yesterday before the Newcastle game. I would have said no. I would have said that I already seen a team who were fighting to keep Everton up. I've seen it last season when Sean Dyche came in and certain players stepped up and kept us up on the last game. And last season, we were one of the worst 3 teams in the league. We stayed up very fortunately, but a lot of that was because of the fight that the players had. But the Newcastle game last night does make me say yes now. It makes because the manner in which we dismantled Newcastle, who were a very, very good side and have been a good side for over a year and a half now, in the Champions League, ambitions to try and win a trophy this season, get Champions League again, to dismantle them 3-0. I think a lot of that has come from the build-up at our training grounds and how the players and manager have said, we need to go out on Thursday night and make an impact. Would we have done that without 10-point deduction? Possibly not. Maybe we'd have gone into last night and go into Sunday saying, let's sit back, defend. We'll be lucky to get a point, but that's a good point in the grand scheme of things. What happens now is most weeks points won't be enough, especially from now until maybe the running Easter. 1 point won't be enough in some games. So we've now been forced to maybe set up differently, go and try and win games that we maybe wouldn't try and win. The Manchester United game, again, Everton in the first half, the first game after the punishments, we should have been 3 or 4-1 up. We just missed chances and missed chances and missed chances, and United were very good in the second half and put us to bed. But yeah, I think that is a really valid point. I think Everton are now in a position where they have to win games they wouldn't have maybe had to win prior to the punishments, and you set up differently. And what comes with that, you know yourself, when you're in Stamford Bridge and under the lights and the team are attacking, that gives the fans 10%, 20%. And what they've done last night and the first half against Manchester United is everyone was together. Everyone was there pushing to win the game. It's not always been like that at Everton. There's been games where we've turned up and it's been drab and dire and we've set up for a point and it's been quite boring to watch. But yeah, I think it's a very good point you've made. I think Everton players and coaching staff have reacted to this, and they've now got that siege mentality to get 3 points week after week.
I mean, in terms of what we've seen on the pitch this season, there's been some good performances, some good results. Obviously, Newcastle last night, Forest away the week before. Good level of performance. What do you make of Sean Dyche? He's been here. Obviously, you've placed our legend Frank Lampard in the dugout. What have you made of the job that he's done there? Evertonians kind of taking to him and his brand of football. I mean, how's he viewed amongst the fan base? Because I think in the circumstances, he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, he is, and a lot of the fallout from people who may not like Sean Dyche. So I think that's not the case now. I think everyone realises he's the right man at the right time. To have someone in a fight and get someone over the line, Sean Dyche is the man. And if you want to go and win trophies and finish higher up in the league, possibly not. But don't forget, there's a little bit of a hangover from Evertonians. It was only 2 years ago that we had Carlo Ancelotti, and everyone was sort of going, how the hell have we got Carlo? Let's make the most of this. Is going to be the turning point. And if you remember, they spent money on the likes of James Rodriguez and brought players in like that. And I think that went quite quickly. And again, someone else who links us, and I know we both don't like this person, who replaced Carlo? It was Rafa Benitez. And that was just a dreadful, dreadful period. So we've gone from such a high, really, supporting the football club, even though it was in lockdown, to now seeing the football be different, and Everton are now going from trying to finish 6th to trying to finish 16th. So there's a hangover, and a lot of fans don't like how quickly we've got there. And what comes with that is when we play games this season, or we played games last season, and we set up to draw, there's an anger in the ground. And when you don't win, those people who are angry go to their mates in the pub, say, told you so, he's not the right man. And that can spread. But I think at the moment, I think everyone realises that we're quite fortunate to have Sean Dyche in this situation. If we'd have had a Benitez or a Lampard in this situation, then I wouldn't be confident at all. But I know I've got someone in my managerial seat now who knows how to keep Everton up. He's done it last season, and I think we're really lucky to have him at this moment in our club's predicament.
No, I think that's a fair thing. So I think it looks like, in a strange way, it looks like for where Everton are right now as a club in this period of time, it's pretty much, I think it's a good match.
Yeah.
Like for the situation right now, obviously Everton want to be pushing higher at the table, want to be getting back into those European spaces. Maybe Dyche is not the man to do that, as you said. But I think right now, for where you're at, I think he's a safe pair of hands that knows the league, knows how to keep the club up. But I guess, like, if you want to have aspirations to push back further at the table, like a club like Everton should be, then maybe I don't know, maybe someone better at some point needs to come in. I'm not really too sure. But in terms of on the pitch, who've been a standout performers this season? I look at someone like Dwight McNeil from afar. I think he's done quite well. I've been impressed with Jack Harrison as well. I know he's coming on loan from Leeds. I think he's done reasonably well. Branthwaite, the young centre-half, I like the look of him. I think he's decent. Would you say that those three, I mean, obviously, I think Amadou Onana in midfield is a great player. Would you say kind of those guys have been the sort of the standout performers this season? Anyone I've kind of missed off?
We missed McNeil. He was injured for the first, I think, 4 or 5 games, and we missed him. So he's had an impact coming back. We played differently with Dwight McNeil. He's a player who will get you a goal, get you an assist, and he will get you up the pitch. And when opposition fans watch the Everton highlights, he'll be the man that you see. And that's fair. Every team needs that player. So McNeil is a big player for us. Harrison missed the first 6-7 games through injury. He's came in. Now, what he adds is work rate. He's like the Duracell bunny. He might not have the greatest end product at times, but if he loses the ball, by God, he's going to chase you to go and get it back, which is valuable. The two other names you mentioned there, Onana and Branthwaite, full of potential. Branthwaite especially has really stepped up this season. He looks to me like someone that we can't keep. And some Evertonians won't like me saying that, but he looks like someone that let's expect. He's very different to John Stones, but in John Stones' final season at Everton, I was watching him going, he's too good. We're not going to keep him. And I'm getting that now. But the one player I would add to that, and again, not the most attractive of footballers in how he does his business and what he does on the pitch, but it's vital for us, is Abdoulaye Doucouré. He can score a goal. He can win you the ball back. He can help defensively. He can help going forward. He's just signed a new contract, which is really good, because there was rumours that, there might be teams, because I think he's 29, 30, so he wouldn't have got that big move, but he certainly would have gone to a team who maybe has a bit more aspirations than us. So it's vital that we tied him down. He's the one player, Charlie, that if he's not fit, I worry. Him and Pickford. But he's the outfield player. If we don't have Abdoulaye Doucouré, we are a different team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Chelsea coming to town on Sunday. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you've got a pretty good record against us at Goodison Park. Certainly in the last 4 or 5 visits, we've got one win, the win at the first game of last season with the penalty. How do you feel about Chelsea coming to town? I mean, what are your thoughts on the game? Do you worry about us? Obviously, I know that right now we're in a massive transitional period. You don't know what Chelsea's going to turn up. But yeah, how do you feel about the visit of Chelsea on Sunday?
It's almost an impossible question to answer, because I don't know what Chelsea are going to turn up. I sat down on Super Sunday a few weeks back, and I watched you take the game to Manchester City and should have won the game. And I watched Cole Palmer, who just looked unbelievable. And I'm thinking, like, that Chelsea should be fighting City for the league. And then I watched the highlights from Chelsea versus Brentford, or I see Manchester United on Wednesday versus Chelsea, and I go, that is not the same team. What's happened? Have they got 15 injuries? Have they got 5 suspensions? There must be a reason for it. And I know you have got injuries and and things like that. Lots of mitigation for the results, and it's a transitional period. But I do think Chelsea should be doing better from the outside. I look at your squad list. I've got it up now. In Kunku, Palmer, even Mudryk, Casido, Lavia, Reece James, Raheem Sterling. These are all players who most Premier League clubs would say, I'll take him. He'll form part of our squad or form part of our team, absolutely. And to sit in 11th place, or 10th place, it would have been 11th, I think, if Everton would have had the 10 points we didn't have. It just doesn't seem right. And for that, I don't know, you could easily come to Goodison. 3 of those players could put the ball in the net and you win 3-0. But I've seen you come to Goodison in the past, and I've seen you this season go to places, and it just, I don't know, you just don't seem to take the fight to them. You don't seem to have much of a an idea of how you win that individual game. I think Wednesday was a big one for me when I watched the United game and I was watching it going, Chelsea years gone by would have killed this United team. And why aren't they? So I don't know. I really don't know. Ask me when I see the sides, because it's a big week for us as well. We've got 3 games in 8 days, a number of older players who probably can't play a 3rd game. So I think I'll know more when I see the sides. But just looking at it from this point of view, now on Friday, I just don't know. Is that a fair assessment of Chelsea?
I think it's a fair assessment. You've got no idea what you're going to get. That's the reality for us. I'd love to sit here and say, right, this is what Chelsea are going to go and do. It's going to be a really tough game for you, and if you play well, you might nick it or you might get a point or whatever. The reality is, like, we're going into this game, and right now, I'd have Everton as favourites. Not by much, but they probably would be favourites to get a positive result in this game. You just got no idea what you're going to get from Chelsea. A number of inexperienced players. You're going to get inconsistencies, but we shouldn't be having the level of inconsistencies that we're having, where you have a great performance like Man City, like 1 week, and then you have performances like Newcastle, Man United, where 2 or 3 players each week might not play that well. But when we're not playing well, we're having every single player not playing well. And when that happens, you're not going to win any matches. So if that happens again on Sunday, we can forget it. If we turn up and 1 or 2 aren't quite at it, I think we can get a positive result. But same as what you've just said, I've got no idea what to expect from this side. And that in itself is a major problem. I mean, looking at Chelsea from your perspective, I mean, on Sunday, what players do you look at? And I know we're not playing that well right now, but if they turn up and they play as well as they can, what players do you look at and you think, Jesus, we're going to have to keep these guys quiet if we're going to, keep a clean sheet or keep the goals down to a minimum?
Goal scoring wise, I don't really fear Chelsea that much. What I do fear is your midfield players. I think you've got a couple of midfield players who have got the potential to be absolutely brilliant in Caicedo and Enzo. I just think if you've got 2 players there, and if they turn up and they play against us in the way that they should or arguably could, then I think Chelsea win the game. So I fear those players. It'd be easy for me to say Cole Palmer. It'd be easy for me to say the most Everton thing would be an ex-Liverpool player like Raheem Sterling to score, which it would be the most Everton thing ever. So there are goals in that Chelsea team, and I don't mean to say there's not, but I don't fear any of your strikers, if you will. I don't fear an onslaught. What I fear is you controlling the game, winning the individual battles, and I think that's how you would win the game on Sunday, and that's what I fear. I think if you're brilliant individual midfielders turn up on Sunday and they play together, then I think you win the game. I think we've got a very good midfield, not as good as what you've got, and I think if your players turn up, and I think that's where I fear it. And again, I could be missing players out there. You could be thinking of players I'm not saying in your mind. So just to switch a little bit, do you think I've missed anyone off there? Are you thinking if X, Y, or Z turn up, we'll beat Everton?
Look, I think we need the wide players are going to be important. I think if Chelsea are going to have some success, look, no disrespect to Ashley Young, he's had a great career, but he's 38 years of age now. In a few Everton games I've seen on the TV, he's looked a little bit of a liability. That game against Man United, getting sent off in the derby. I think like if you've got Raheem Sterling up against Ashley Young, or you've got Mikhailo Mudryk, you put Cole Palmer on that side. These are guys young, energetic, quick, and like at 38, you might be able to read the game well. But, you're going to struggle to defend these guys one-on-one or beat them for pace. So I think if Chelsea are going to have some success, we need to look at targeting Ashley Young. I think that's a good place to start. Coleman on the other side, I think, is obviously a better player. But I think the fullback areas we can have some success. I also think the midfield battle is going to be really key. It's like in a lot of games, the game can be won or lost in midfield. Look, in terms of talent, absolutely, Enzo, Caicedo are better footballers than you guys have got in midfield. But in terms of physicality, being up for the fight, I look at it and I think, I don't know if Enzo and Caicedo are going to be up for the fight against, the likes of Onana, Doucouré, Idrissa Gueye, these sort of guys, experienced pros, physical, going to get in your face, are going to work hard. That's going to be tough for us, I think, as well. Set pieces. We are not defending set pieces well at the moment. We're conceding a lot of goals from crosses into the box. We're letting people have free headers in the box far too often. In the last 3 games, we've conceded goals by people having free headers in the box. The McTominay winner on Wednesday night. Lascelles had a free header in the box to go 2-1 up for Newcastle in that game. And we had a Kanji with a free header in the box as well. So defensively, we're letting in a lot of goals. It's 4 against City. It's 4 against Newcastle. It's 2 against Brighton. It's 2 against Man United. In our last 4 games, that's 12 goals conceded. You can't carry on like that. So I think you can target us from set pieces for sure, can target us with crosses into the box and things like that. And I think it's just going to depend how we defend and do we have our shooting boots on? Because we create a lot of chances and we are scoring more goals than we have done in the recent past. But the reality is we are still missing a lot of chances and we're vulnerable defensively. I mean, would you say that one of Everton's strengths would be kind of like balls into the box, set pieces and things like that? Because I think you can have a lot of success targeting us that way.
You need to stop the crosses, because even when the crosses come in naturally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Abdoulaye Doucouré are 6'3". They're the target men for the natural crosses. If you defend it and put it out for a long throw in or a corner, what happens then is up come James Tarkowski and Jared Branthwaite, both 6'4". So we do have a really good advantage in relation to set pieces. We're really good at defending them, and we're really good at when we get them as well. And what you'll notice is if Everton get corners or multiple corners, you'll see the volume lift, the crowd then think. It's a bit like when you've got the guy in the background there, Gianfranco Zola. I imagine when he got the ball, people went on the end of the seat. It's a bit like that when we get a corner, because we think this is our moment where we can really punish teams. And during play as well, you'll notice Dwight McNeil and Jack Harrison, they will try and get the ball in the box quickly. There's no delay. There's no let's make a move. Let's I know last night we scored with 29 touches at the end, which was fantastic. But that's the exception, not the rule. We do look to hit the ball in the box quickly. I don't think I'm jinxing myself here. I don't think Chelsea win the game by being better in the air than us going forward. I think you've got to do it defensively, but I think where your strength will be, as you rightly said, there is if you put someone on Ashley Young, for instance, or and I don't know whether Young will play because he's played 2 games in the week already. If he doesn't play, Seamus Coleman, who's 35, would probably replace him. Just as likely for you to put someone on him and really target him. I think that's where you'll get at Everton. But defensively, I think you're probably a little bit vulnerable. I would say if you're already conceding goals from set pieces, I would say that you probably need to get the training manual out tomorrow down at Cobham and make sure that you're ready for it, because that's where we'll come for you.
No, absolutely, mate. Last thing before we get predictions, just want to quickly touch on your centre forwards. Dominic Calvert-Lewin obviously missed a big chance in that Newcastle game. Didn't really matter in the end. He's been one of those where the potential, he did play for England. He was linked with a move for Arsenal a number of years ago, quite strongly. Yeah. What do you make of him? Because I look at it from the outside and I think there's someone that could have been quite good, but hasn't really. Would you say is it fair to say that he's not really reached the heights that potentially he might have done?
Yeah, the one mitigation in that is he had a really bad injury.
A lot of injuries,
that kept the initial one. He's never really got over. So if you look in the detail of it, when you get these injuries, other parts of your body start to break down as well when you come back too soon. And that's what's happened to him. I think Benitez, when he was here, he was pushing Lewin to play when he wasn't fit, because obviously Benitez's job was on the line, and that didn't help. Prior to that, he was a really important player for us. I know Carlo loved him. I think he scored 16, 17 goals one season in Carlo's one full season that he had with us. And what Carlo done is he set the team up around Calvert-Lewin, similar to what he does with every team he manages. Carlo, he puts a centre forward and then does everybody go around him. And he was lethal. He was and that was the moment in time where the rumours came. Arsenal looking. That was the moment in time that England played him. I think he was part of the Euro 2020, which was in 2021. He was part of that squad. The injuries since then have derailed him. But even before then, he was never really a natural finisher. A player that links us together, Romelu Lukaku. He was never going to be a Lukaku where Lukaku sometimes just need one chance and win 1-0. He's not that way. He needs 4 or 5. But for us, I mean, he's really important. He's unselfish, and he's happy to win the game 3-0 and not score like we seen last night. He's a striker who is that. He's unselfish. He will have a fight for you. He'll have a battle. If Thiago Silva on Sunday pushes Calvert-Lewin, he'll get pushed back and the duel will start. So he's important of how we play. He's never going to be a player, I think, who's going to be linked to a club like Arsenal again. I think that's gone. I think, again, people who on the outside, do you realise he's 28 next year? He's not even young now. He's 28 next season. It's probably coming into the time of his life where he's looking at, You know, is it MLS? Is it Saudi in a couple of years and making plans like that when he gets into his 30s? So he's never going to be a player now that you see playing for England as a number 9. The moment in time has passed for him. He had a really purple patch under Carlo and he got the rewards for that. But there is mitigation in his form. I think the injuries have really hampered him. I never think he would have been a top striker, but I certainly think there's mitigation in his goal scoring record now.
No, for sure. I mean, having just said all that, he'd probably end up scoring a couple of goals on Sunday and we lose. But, you know, such is life. I mean, mate, to round out, score prediction. We kind of said that it's very hard to know what to expect. But, I mean, if I had to push you for a prediction, what would you be saying?
I'll go with a realistic one and one that I'd also be happy with. And some Evertonians watching this will be screaming at me. I'm just going to go for a draw and I'm going to go for 0-0. I think Sean Dyche will be happy with that. I think if the game is 0-0 with 15-10 to go, I think we'll get in a defensive shape to protect it. I don't think you'll see Everton push because I think the manager will realise that 7 points out of 9 is fantastic. Of course, 9 would be unbelievable. To go into the Christmas fixtures out the zone by 9 points, beating a big team like Chelsea would be fantastic. But I can see us drawing with you, and I can just see it being a bit of a nervous afternoon for maybe both teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. I right now can't with any confidence predict Chelsea to win. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. That's sort of more in hope rather than expectation. But I don't want to sit here and say we're going to lose, but I don't have confidence. So I'm going to sit on the fence and go with a 1-1 draw. But
we've predicted, haven't we? We've absolutely predicted the pair of us.
no, we have. But like, I don't know what to expect from this team, and I haven't got confidence that we're going to win. So I'll take the draw because I don't know if I've got the heart in it to say that we're going to turn up and be crap. So yeah, I'll go for the draw. But mate, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. If people want to check out where you guys do your stuff and all that thing, where's the best place for them to go?
No, it's a pleasure to come on. Very appreciate it. We are an Everton fan channel. We're called Across the Park, and our fan channel is Across the Park PC for podcast. The reason we're called Across the Park is, you may not know this, but there's a smaller club who play across a park in our city, and we started there first. So we were the first team to win a league title over there. So that's why the name is Across the Park. But if you head over to Twitter, which is at Across the Park PC, we do a show a week in a studio. We do an instant match reaction. We do an opposition fan, which I've been delighted to rope Charlie into doing on my channel as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well, Charlie.
Yeah, guys, make sure you head over there, check all that stuff out, show the guys some love, go and subscribe, go and watch the match preview we did over on the Everton channel. Make sure you show them some love. This would be greatly appreciated. Guys, we'll catch you again in another video soon. Make sure you smash the likes. Make sure you subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you are new around here. And as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below, people.